Let's go. Wednesday, 8:30, Athletes Forum Podcast, College Sports Crew. What's up, locker room? How's everyone doing? How's everyone been? We're going to dive into a couple of things as you can check on the board tonight. Texas Tech has a new QB1. I haven't talked this much about Texas Tech in all my life, right? With the Sorsby thing, with the new quarterback thing, with Joey McGuire. Texas Tech has a new QB1. We're going to dive into that in regards to how that affects Texas Tech going forward, how that affects Texas Tech in the Big 12. What does that mean for Texas Tech in the playoff hopes? We'll dive into that as well. We got top 5 games to watch in the SEC, and the wheel is back. The wheel's back. A fan base check-in. We're getting closer to the end of this thing, right? So we're going to tap into another fan base to kind of see how things are going, kind of see how things are brewing. But before we get this thing started, check College Sports Crew on Twitter, College Crew on Twitter, College Sports Crew on YouTube, College Sports Crew on TikTok. We'll also subscribe to Athletes Forum Podcast here on YouTube as well, too. We're trying to grow this thing. We're almost at 1,000. I appreciate everyone tapping in and joining the movement. Let's dive right into it, man. Texas Tech, they have a new QB1. All right, they have a new QB1. His name is Will Hammond, and you might have heard his name before. You might have seen him play over the past couple of years, but Will Hammond is the guy for Texas Tech going forward. Brandon Sorsby, and listen, enough in regards to like this drama that's been going on around Texas Tech. Gambling, Sorsby. I don't want to spend a lot of leading up to the season to talk about the sanctions. I want to talk ball. So I won't dive into too much of that. That's over and done with, right? It's like playing sports. You got to have a quick memory, right? You got to get on to the next play, right? We're getting on to the next play, and Texas Tech has a new quarterback in Will Hammond, so let's talk about it, right? Sorsby going to the supplemental draft, right? He'll have a pro day soon. All 32 teams are interested, right? He would have been one of the top quarterbacks leading into next year's draft, right? And to be honest, I'm more upset about the administrative. I'm more upset about the collective in regards to how it was handled, the process, and everything that's got going on, right? So we're closing the door on that chapter. He's going into the supplemental draft. Speaking of a supplemental draft, some dudes that come out of the supplemental draft. You think about Josh Gordon, wide receiver, went to the Browns. You think about Terrell Pryor, quarterback for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Dick Butkus, right? There's been some guys that come out of the supplemental draft. Sorsby is going to look to become the next in line when it comes to that. That's over and done with. Let's talk about Will Hammond, because he's the new guy. Not necessarily new, but he is the full-time guy, right? Mama told me he got a full-time job as the Texas Tech Red Raiders starting quarterback going forward, right? So let's dive into Will Hammond and what makes him so special, and why Texas Tech feel like they're in good hands. Because honestly, I think Texas Tech is in good hands, and it almost makes me question if Hammond was healthy from the jump, right? If Hammond was healthy from the jump, why would they even pursue a like of a Brandon Sorsby, right? Why would they even go that route, right? But obviously he's not healthy, or he didn't get healthy. So let's talk about Mr. Will Hammond. So former 4-star quarterback, labeled as a dual threat, 6'2"-ish, right? If people kind of wondering who he is or why everyone is, comfortable with him now, right? I personally thought he was better than Morton last year. Better than Morton, who went the 7th round to the Green Bay Packers. Because Will Hammond's play styles, he likes to extend plays. He can escape pressure. He's more mobile. He throws effectively. He's very accurate. Dangerous runner as well, too, right? He's a dangerous runner as well, too. He also has a quick, fast release, right? Which is what pro scouts love, right? Which is what pro scouts love for the most part. Now, early in his college career, he played as a true freshman, 2024, got in 4 games, about 471 passing yards, 2 passing TDs, 2 rushing TDs, right? And he started also in the Liberty Bowl because there was injury to quarterback, right? Impressed coaches enough that, they decided to stick with him, right? They didn't go get another quarterback to either replace Morton or challenge Morton. They stuck with Will Hammond, right? And then it felt like 2015 was kind of his breakout. Again, due to injuries. He took advantage of those opportunities. 690 passing yards, 7 passing touchdowns, almost 300 on the ground, 5 rushing, and he's over 63% passing completion, right? That's good. That's good. That's good in regards to how people are grading quarterbacks. So listen, most people, if you're at that 70%, most of the times you're considered what they call like elite, all right? What most people will call elite. But listen, there's a reason to be happy about Will Hammond, right? There's a fair reason to be happy about Will Hammond, and he's done everything in his power to really just take advantage of the opportunities whenever they presented themselves, right? You think about his story. Most of the time, he's gotten in due to injury, right? And because of that, he's capitalized on those opportunities, right? So let's dive into Will a little bit more. Last year, Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week. Also, Big 12 Freshman of the Week after Texas Tech beat Utah, right? Beat Utah, who a lot of people were high on heading into last season, right? Signature performance against Utah. Hammond came off the bench due to injury. Threw for 169, 2 touchdowns, rushed for 61, right? He led 4 scoring drives for Texas Tech to lead them over a win of 34-10 victory over a dominating Utah Utes. I believe that game was on the road too, right? Now, here's the setback. We've already talked about it. Injury. Torn ACL. Torn ACL really kind of threw a great cloud over Texas Tech and maybe what they thought the future could look like. And maybe if he was healthy, or maybe they were curious about Will Hammond's health concerns, that they went and got Mr. Brandon Sorsby. That's what it is, right? So my question for Texas Tech fans is, if you were so comfortable with Will Hammond, why they feel they had to go get Sorsby? And maybe fans don't know. Or maybe they do know. But it seems like everyone's comfortable with Will Hammond now, right? Now, if he doesn't play week 1, again, due to health concerns, Kurt Francis is going to start. He was a transfer from Tulsa last year. And I think his touchdown to interception ratio was like 18-13. 18 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. So listen, I'm not the best at math, but that's not a good ratio, right? Will Hammond's a stud. Will Hammond's a dude. Honestly, I think it kind of makes Tech a little bit more interesting. A little bit more interesting than this whole Brandon Sorsby thing pre-Gamble gate, right? Pre-Gamble this whole drama that happened, right? So I'm curious to kind of see how everything is going to pan out for Tech going forward, because I think this, obviously LSU's happy because someone else is being talked about other than them, right? Someone else is being talked about other than them, right? So I think this actually makes Texas Tech a little bit more interesting than maybe what we thought they were going to be or have been before. But if you follow the show, if you watch the show, we do what we call is a fan base check-in, right? It's called The Wheel, right? Dive into some storylines, some questions, key returners, right? What the outlook of the team's going to be. I want to do that in a form, but just go over Texas Tech's schedule now that they have a new QB1. All right, now they have a new QB1. So with Will Hammond at quarterback, what does it look like from the scheduling piece now, right? Let's just say he is ready, right? You get, I believe that's Abilene Christian. You get Oregon State, and then Houston's the big one. Friday Night Lights in Texas. Houston's the big one, right? Because Houston's going to come out guns blazing, ready for the smoke. Connor Wegman, ready for the smoke, ready to take the Big 12, right? And then you got a cupcake in Sam Houston, and then you get right back in the Big 12 play. Colorado should be good. Arizona State should be interesting. One of my top 5 games to watch in the Big 12 this year. Cincinnati, the Brandon Sorsby Bowl, right? Arizona should be good. Got the most experienced starting quarterback in college football this year in Noah Fafita, right? West Virginia, I think, is a sleeper, right? Oklahoma State, Eric Morris, right? If you follow College Sports Crew, right, we talk ball show, right? There's a certain host over there named Chris who was a big Eric Morris fan. Obviously, Eric Morris came from Texas Tech. That's no slouch. Baylor, listen, DJ Lagway, what's he going to be? TCU supposedly supposed to be good. So listen, I don't think Texas Tech runs away with it as maybe most people have thought. before this whole thing, the whole drama with the gambling and swords came to fruition, right? I don't think they run away with it, but it does make things a little bit more interesting. And I'm excited to kind of see how Will Hammond really handles it going forward, right? Because now this is his team. This is his future, Junior, right? Can he be maybe a quarterback we're talking about late in the season, right? So, Joey McGuire, Texas Tech, Red Raider Nation, talk to me. How are we feeling? How are we feeling about this one, right? I know we're ready to turn the page and move forward because God knows I am, right? I never talked this much Texas Tech football in my life, right? Not since Graham Hurl, Michael Crabtree, Texas game, right? Touchdown at the end. I haven't talked this much Texas Tech in a while, right? So, Red Raider Nation, talk to me, fan. Drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think. How do we feel about Will Hammond and this team moving forward? Leaving everything in the past, because trust me, this is the last time I'm going to talk about it. I'm more about ball going forward. So, QB1, Texas Tech, Lubbock fans, how we feel about Will Hammond now getting his time. And it's ironic that most of his time came in when it was injuries, and it's ironic now that he's coming off of an injury. It's his time now. So it's going to be interesting to pin him out. Let's dive into the chat before we dive into the next topic. So we got my guy, Kenny Roberts. Let's go, big fella. Good evening, bro. LSU got our running back today. Oh, well, on to the next one. Who they get? Did they get Trey? Is this break? Hold on. Don't tell me they got Trey Martin, bro. This is the live reaction, right? This is a live reaction. I have to see. Kenny, don't tell me they got Trey Martin. No! Oh man, Kenny. Damn, I thought we were gonna get Trey. Tune in this week. There might be a Talking Gator show. Listen, we lose Kenny. We lose Trey. I'm not liking how things are going. All right. Chris, talk to me. What we got? To me, what sucks about the story is Tech had a chance to be the lovable story like Indiana. Now we hate them. Yeah, listen. They're right up there with LSU, man. They're right up there with LSU in regards to how they're being looked at now. What else we got? Bingo. I'm not that high on Hammond. If he was that good at Tech eyes, they never got. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. Right? That's exactly what I said. If he was that good, why even go get Brendan Sorsby? You knew about his injury when he got injured in October and tore his ACL. You knew in today's science with how fast people are recovering from this injury that there was a chance he was going to play. And you have 2 years of a sample size plus spring ball, right? So if you knew or you were high on Will Hammond, why would you go get Sorsby? All right. They felt it was an upgrade. The only reason you're making a move like that, paying the guy that much money, is because you feel it's an upgrade. Now, if I'm Will Hammond and I ball out, I'm requesting Sorsby money or I'm leaving. I'm requesting Sorsby money or I'm leaving, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. Damn, Kenny, they got our guy. That's 3 running backs LSU got. All right, we'll talk about that another day. Top 5 SEC games to watch this year, right? We did the ACC, we did the Big 12. Listen, Big 10, you're next week. Champs, you got to save for last. They won the Natty 3 years in a row. Got to pay my due diligence. Big 10, we'll talk next week. Top 5 SEC games heading into this year. All right, I'm excited to talk about this one. So I'm working my way down from 5 and then work my way up. All right. So coming in at number 5, top 5 games SEC. Chris, you'll like this one. That's that last Saturday in October, Georgia, Florida. Right. This time being played in Atlanta. Don't like that, but I understand it due to construction. Right. This comes in at number 5 for me. Listen, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Georgia's been dominating Florida. Kirby's been dominating Florida. All right, let me just get that off my chest for you Georgia fans out there. All right, the vibes are a little different. Now. The team is a little different. The mindset's a little different. The approach is a little different down in Gainesville than what it's been in the past. right, than what has been in the past. Because Kirby be the coach and Dan Mullen that couldn't recruit on the same level. Kirby be the coach multiple times in Billy Napier that really couldn't coach on the same level, right? And McElwain, a little bit of both. We haven't played a snap with Summerall, but Summerall is, call it what you want. Kenny Jackson, flip, got it, get it, good. Heard about it, yes. Over it, yes. But Summerall still tapping into Kirby's backyard, still dabbling into Kirby's backyard and winning recruiting battles and top tier talent in the state of Georgia. So if I got someone that can compete with Kirby, right? And from what I'm hearing, from listening to Brad White talk, listening to Buster talk, seeing how Troutwine and Chapman are recruiting and the type of players we're getting, I can only imagine how that's going to translate to the field once, the Gators are at that level, right? Once the Gators are at that level. So this game right here, Florida, Georgia, the biggest cocktail party, right, is going to tell me a lot. Even though it's late in season, it's going to tell me a lot about the mindset of this Florida team, the direction of this Florida team, right? Because if there's one team, listen, I hate Florida State, don't got any respect for them. And I hate Georgia, but I respect the hell out of Georgia. So if there's one team I want to beat just as bad, maybe more than Florida State, it's Georgia. It's Georgia. So that comes in at number 5. Number 4, talk to me. Who we got? We got LSU, Texas. Man, you want to talk about a game, right? You want to talk about pressure. You want to talk about expectations, right? That both fan bases, both institutions have on this game, right? This is going to be a great game. And I almost feel bad for LSU until I found out that they took my guy and Trey Martin. Now I could care less. But this game, just to give you some background, 8 wins LSU to 9 wins Texas. Last game was in 2019. LSU won 45-38, right? This game for LSU was sandwiched in between Alabama and Tennessee. LSU has a rough stretch down the road. Texas, after this game, skip a week. You have your rival, Texas A&M, week 13, right? This is almost like that Georgia game last year late in the season before getting to Texas A&M. This is going to be a great game to watch. It's late in the season. There's going to be a lot on the line in this game, and there's going to be a lot leading up to this game. So I'm interested to see how this game pans out, and that is LSU and Texas week 11, all right? Third game I'm looking forward to, top 5 SEC games, Alabama, Georgia. Kirby, during the regular season, hey, this may sound familiar to Georgia fans. Hey, someone go wake Kirby up. Last time I said that, they flipped the guy from Florida. Hey, someone go wake Kirby up because it seems like during the season, he just does not know how to beat Bama, right? Now, SEC, national titles, different story, right? But you can't get to those games until you take care of business in the regular season. And at some point, one of these days, losing to Bama in the regular season is going to hurt Georgia, right? So if not now, then when, Kirby? Someone go wake Kirby up, all right? Regular season, Georgia hasn't beat Bama since 2007 in the regular season. Now, they've been to 2 natties. They split 1-1, right? And they've been to 5 SEC championships. They played against each other. Bama's 4-1. So, Kirby, I need to see some deposits against Bama during the regular season, right? Just for the rivalry's sake, right? Just for the rivalry's sake. Because right now you've been owned by DeBoer. Even though it's been, 2 seasons, you've been owned by DeBoer. You've been owned by Nick Saban. That Crimson it's got a hold of in that Kirby household, right? So that comes at number 3 for me. Number 2, must game watch in the SEC, Texas A&M, Texas. This game might have SEC title appearance on the line, right? And this game is such a beautiful rivalry. Right, this game goes back to years in the Big 12. Texas Tech won the last 3, right? Elko hasn't seen a win versus his rival, Texas, right? Now, in this game, Marcel Reed, Arch Manning, two highly profile quarterbacks, right? Playing big time ball. This comes late in the season. This game slowly becoming one of my favorite rivalries. You might like this game more than Red River, to be honest. More than Red River, to be honest. And it's in A&M this year. That's going to be a beautiful game. Beautiful game. So that comes in at number 2 for me. And listen, number 1 shouldn't be any surprise. LSU Ole Miss. How everything went down, right? How everything went down for Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin leaving, playoff run, almost made it to the Natty, to Lane Kiffin lending his staff to Ole Miss, to the back and forth, to the most recent comments Lane made to Ole Miss in regards to like jabs, maybe some reality. I'm not here to judge, right? But this game is the most highly anticipated game of college football this season. This game, not to mention the game before, it's going to be Houston, Texas Tech, Friday Night Lights. But this game is the closest thing to a playoff atmosphere. It's the closest thing to real, true, old rivalry hate. It's the closest thing to a natty that we're going to get, and we're going to get it early in the season, right? So there's going to be a lot leading up to this game. There's going to be a lot talked about in this game. And listen, there's going to be it's not going to be safe on the Grove. It's not going to be safe in that stadium, right? It's not going to be safe for LSU in the hotel. This game, they're going to have to hire the National Guard. They're going to have to hire the SWAT team when it comes to this game, right? There's going to be some bad blood, not on the field, not just on the field, in the stands, in the tailgate, post game. This game is too dangerous to go to, but it's going to be a beautiful watch. I'm here for it. My toply highly rated game to watch in the SEC this year, LSU Ole Miss week 3, right? So let's backtrack. Number 1, LSU Ole Miss. Number 2, Texas A&M Texas week 13. Number 3, we got Alabama Georgia. Number 4, LSU Texas week 11. And then number 5, Georgia Florida, right? Drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think, how we feel about those games. Which games am I missing? Which games are you most excited to watch, right? Now, before we get to the wheel, let's pay some bills real quick. Listen, if you're just now tuning in, 1, I appreciate you and I love you. Hearts sent your way, all right? Follow us on Twitter, College Crew. Subscribe to us. We're at 200 and almost 250 on the YouTube at College Sports Crew. We're at almost 1,400 on the TikTok, College Sports Crew, right? So drop a comment. I'm in the chat box. I'm in the message box. I'll talk ball with you guys all day long. I did a show responding to Georgia fans, right? And then it turned around and then it burned me because our dude went to Georgia. So we'll say that topic for another day. However, it's time for the wheel, right? It's time for the wheel. Listen, we do this every week. Presumptive top 25. It's a fan base check-in. Storylines. Who's coming back? Who came in? Schedule outlook. Questions going into the season, right? Let's see where the wheel takes us this week, right? Let's see where the wheel's going to take us this week. SMU. The wheel lands on SMU. All right. It's time to talk the Pony Express. It's time to talk SMU ball, right? SMU. Honestly, a lot of people's favorites in the ACC this year. I'm not going to lie to you. I would never lie to you unless I'm talking to a Georgia fan, right? A lot of people's favorites this year when it comes to getting to the ACC championship, even possibly getting to Charlotte, right? Storylines for SMU. And if you're just now tuning in, again, we did the wheel, landed on SMU, so we're going to do a fan base check-in. Kevin Jennings' development, what does it look like? 2 years ago, made it to the playoffs. 2 years ago, lost to Penn State. Didn't look good versus Penn State. Last year, dealt with a lot of injuries. What's his development been this offseason heading into this year versus SMU? Another storyline, can they win October? They're not leaving the state of Texas in October. Home versus Boston College. Home versus Virginia. Bye week, home versus Cal, right? Can they win October? And also, will they live up to expectations? I just talked about it. A lot of people are expecting SMU to win the ACC, to get to Charlotte, to even get to the playoffs, right? Remember, last year they beat Miami. One of Miami's first losses before Miami ended up losing to Louisville again, right? They beat Miami. So Rich Lashley has shown that he could coach. Rich Lashley has shown that his team can play at a national championship caliber team. You beat the national champion runner-ups, you're good enough to get to that game, right? So what does that look like this year for SMU? Some of the returning players, listen, we already talked about Kevin Jennings returning for his 5th year. Last year alone, threw 30 in the air and had over 3,600 passing. Defense is solid. You think about linebackers, Brandon Booker and Alexander Kilgore were returning to that defense. Not to mention, they locked up on the outside at corners, as both of their corners are returning in, Marcel Barnes and William William Nettles returning on the outside for corner. So they're good on the edges, right? They're good in regards to camaraderie, right? Now, obviously, there's some question marks up front, but we'll dive into that as well. Some incoming players to kind of keep an eye out for, right? We got Jalen Cooper, right? He was a freshman receiver last year, really came onto the scene, stood out for SMU, right? Jordan Adams, 26-year-old MLB player, coming to college to play football. He still has eligibility left. They dived into the portal, not big, only 15 players in the portal. But you think about Jalen Hale, who they got a receiver, came from Alabama. He's a guy who could take the top off the defense. You think about Yannick Smith, tall, big body wide receiver, came from Eastern Carolina. He'll probably play the X, right? And then on the defensive side, their big defensive guy that they got, D lineman, Malcolm Alcorn Crowder, 6'6", 305. 6'6", 305. So he comes from Kansas State. He's going to plug the middle. So what does this team look like going forward? It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out, right? Let's dive into the schedule a little bit and kind of see what are some wins, what are some areas that they could take advantage of. All right. So start off for Florida State off the bat. Take that game serious, or ask my guy why am I blanking on his name? Ask any Alabama fan, right? Ask any Alabama fan what it's like to play Florida State week 1, right? You get UC Davis, you get a bye, then you go to Louisville. All right, I just did a fan base check-in on Louisville, right? That's a sneaky team to keep an eye out for, and that's not going to be an easy one. Later, you come back, play Missouri State. So you got 2 easy wins at home, allegedly. And then we talk about October, right? Boston College, Virginia, Cal, right? Bye week, somewhere in there, all right? And then you go to Syracuse, all right? You finish with Virginia Tech. That's not going to be an easy one. Wake Forest, not going to be an easy one. They're sneaky tough. I'm not going to say they're good. They're sneaky tough. Notre Dame end of the season is criminal. It's criminal for SMU, right? Now, it's not going to affect their conference. As long as they take care of business in the ACC, they'll be fine. But that's criminal versus SMU. And then Stanford, they finish it off in Palo Alto, right? So can they win the ACC? I think they could. I think it's a manageable schedule. You got some tough ones on there, right? Louisville's going to be tough. Virginia, what do they look like after making it to the ACC championship last year? Cal, I think they're going to be good. They have an experienced quarterback. Virginia Tech is good. Notre Dame, easily the hardest test on the schedule, and you don't get them until late in the season. Who knows what the help's going to look like for both teams at that point. All right? So, fan base check-in. This is how we end it. What questions do we have leading in the fall ball? Listen, we're almost there. What does the pass defense look like? What does the pass defense look like? Over 300 passing yards in the air last year. No bueno. Can we lock that up? Can you replace an all-time sack leader in Isaiah Smith, who had tons of production for SMU last year, right? We already talked about they got Malcolm Alcorn Crowder from K-State, 6'6", 305 to plug the middle. Are they going to get pressure off the edge? They got lockdown corners. Right, they got 2 linebackers in the middle, right? So what does that look like? O-line struggles. From what I've been reading, they struggle to get a consistent 5 during spring ball. Usually after spring ball, you want to have an idea of what your 5 looks like heading in the fall camp. You don't want to keep shuffling. You do not want to keep shuffling the deck in fall camp, trying to find who's going to protect your greatest asset, and that's your quarterback. So I'm curious what that O-line looks like. Lastly, do they have enough? SMU fans, Pony Express, Mustangs, talk to me. Do you feel like SMU has enough to not just win the ACC, not just get to the playoffs, but damn it, host a playoff game, make some noise, right? My lasting images of SMU is them going to Happy Valley, cold as hell, losing to Penn State. You beat Miami last year. You showed that you have the caliber on your team. Do they have enough this year? I'm going to be curious to find that out. Athletes Forum Podcast, drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think. SMU fans, we talked SMU ball. Drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Texas Tech fans, we did a whole menage a trois in the beginning of this thing, talking about Will Hammond and going forward and what that looks like for you, what that looks like for you guys going forward. Drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Subscribe to us on TikTok. More importantly, subscribe to us on YouTube, right? At College Sports Crew. We're also on Twitter, College Crew. And you can also find this podcast on Athletes Forum Podcast, right? Now, we'll see how it pans out. But before we leave, let's dive into the comments section. We got one in the board. My guy, Chris. I think the wheel hates Georgia like Jamal does. Hey, listen. The wheel is salty. We're out here losing guys to Georgia. We're out here losing running backs to LSU, right? The only hope right now is Brewster. Our guy Royal, the number one receiver, who had a great visit as well too. Easton Royal, right? Raheem Floyd, cornerback from it's between us and Mizzou, right? And we gotta find a running back. We're not going into this sign class with just Andrew Beard at running back. We got to find another running back and see how it pans out. But thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, Athletes Forum Podcast. Till next time.